Welcome to Birthright, a podcast about joy and healing in Black birth.
My name is Angela Lewis. I live in Los Angeles. I am the mother of 18-month-old Brooklyn Genesis, and this is my birthright story.
Today's guest is actor Angela Lewis, who currently stars as Aunt Louie on FX's Snowfall. Angela was born and raised in Detroit and received her BFA in acting from the University of Michigan and lived in New York City for 13 years as a working actress before marrying and relocating to Los Angeles. Angela graciously shares her birthing journey with us here today and how she found joy after pain. So we're here to talk about a different role that you play, which is in your real life as mother. Angela, tell us a little bit about how you feel being a Black woman kind of shaped your pregnancy. And then I would love to hear your thoughts, just the way that Black mothers are portrayed on television and the movies, and where those two kind of intersect for you.
Being a Black woman is stressful. And I think being a pregnant Black woman just adds more stress when it really shouldn't, because we oftentimes are really not concerned, but aware of how people are looking at us. And people are oftentimes looking at us with whatever their opinion is. You know, there's so much baggage that comes with being a Black woman in this country and then being a pregnant Black woman. I remember years ago when I was in New York doing theater, I feel like every character I've ever played is always pregnant. And this one character, I was like, you know what? I'm going to walk around New York City as a pregnant woman. And I mean, and at the time, this is like years ago. So I was like in my early 20s, probably looking 16. And I just got so many like shaking of the head from, you know, Black people, especially the older Black women, like, oh no, here go another one. You know, it was just like, oh. And that, and so observing the difference between back then and now, when, you know, I look a little older, I'm married, and so there were many more smiles, you know, and nods of approval. But then also I was hyper aware of wearing my wedding ring, because I didn't want people to think that I wasn't married. And not that there's anything wrong with being a single mom or a single woman who's pregnant, but that I just felt like I didn't want to be judged, you know, or made into a stereotype of, oh, you know, she's, you know, promiscuous, and, you know, all the things that come, you know, with that. And then there's the added stress of like, am I making that up? Like, are people thinking, you know, would people think something about the fact that I wasn't married, or is it just me? But I think that is something that comes from an experience, you know, a history of being looked at a certain way. And so I remember also walking through Beverly Hills. It was summer, and I just got nasty looks from people, especially women. You know, I had on a shirt that had like cut slits in it. I had, you know, cut little air conditioning slits, I guess, into my shirt. And so I don't know, the idea of having my belly exposed turned some people off. And it only happened in Beverly Hills. And so I don't know what that was about. I don't know if I wasn't dressed posh enough or something, or I don't know. But definitely, and I would be so confused. I remember being confused because I thought everywhere else people are smiling at me. What is happening in this neighborhood that I'm getting all of these noses turned up and like I don't know. I don't know what that was about. And I don't, particularly care to spend too much time guessing, but it was an issue.
It was an
And
issue. And I
yeah,
think that, that just speaks to the layers of the burdens that we carry, right? So you're pregnant, you're already worried about being a Black woman pregnant. Now you have to worry about what people are looking at you, whether they're worried that you're married, whether they're making judgments about should you be pregnant, can you afford this baby? Because that's
right.
one of the other things that come
And
out
then
of
there's
their mouths.
also Right. And then there's also for a long time, I thought I was having a boy and, thinking about, how am I gonna, raise this young black man in this country? And then I found out I was having a girl and the same thing, how am I gonna raise this young black woman? Like, how am I gonna teach her what it is to be a woman and how to be free in her sexuality ultimately, and then you know how to walk through this world a human being, that's not bogged down with any of the isms,
Yeah. And all
so
the things. It's all the things. And, we're trying to parent children in that way when we don't have that freedom ourselves. So we're kind
I
of trying
know.
to chart a path that we don't know, hoping that gets better, grasping, looking for tools,
Mm-hmm.
finding community. Like we're trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure it out for ourselves
Mm-hmm.
while we're trying
That's
to
right.
do it for our children. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Is all the things. It's definitely all the
All the
things.
things.
All the things.
Yeah.
I mean, in that vein, I ask everyone on the podcast, Angela, what is our birthright?
I think our birthright is freedom. I think people try to take that away, but we are beings that are made in the image of source, whatever it is you call it. And source is free to create, free to be and give and receive love and joy. And I think it is our birthright to be free.
It is our birthright to be free. Tell us about Moonchild, what that means, and what are you up to?
Yeah. So my company that my husband and I created to kind of house our careers is called Moonchild Group. And so through Moonchild Group, we have created a foundation. And one of the programs in our foundation is this program that I'm building um, for Black moms to be and new Black moms. And what I realized through my uh, pregnancy and birth journey is that I spent a lot of money to have a safe, supported, healthy pregnancy and birth, and that it is a terrible fact and notion that one should have to have extra money laying around to have that experience. Every woman should be able to have a healthy, safe, and supported and educated birth experience. And I just cringe when I think about what if I didn't have that extra money? What if this were, 4-6 years prior? I probably would have had a very different experience.
Mm,
And so I really feel passionate about leveling that um, that dynamic. I feel like so I created this program where it's like a matching program. So a woman who has the means to have this experience or to have the resources, have she can afford to have the access to these resources and to this education, to have this healthy, safe, supported birth experience, and then she can anonymously uh, um, support another woman, a woman who does not have the funds for the services that she might need. And let's say if you're like me, where I could afford to do it for myself, but I certainly would not have been able to plunk out that same amount of money for someone else, though I would have loved to have been able to do that. Um, then corporate sponsorship can kick in and be able to match those services and give them to a woman who needs who can't afford it. So either way, the woman who needs help uh, is taken care of.
Wow, that's so powerful. I think that when we think about childbirth, it should not be a class-based system, right? It shouldn't be an
Right.
income-based experience. We see
No,
this in our food system, right? It's like, I call Whole Foods whole paycheck.
absolutely.
Love to be there, but good Lord. And so to eat well in
Right.
this country, you need to have money if you're not growing your own food. And so it seems like, where we're headed in terms of creating these gaps between what you can access, the thing that is healthier for you, better for you, is
Mm-hmm.
actually going to prevent diet related diseases, but
Mm-hmm.
but comes at a cost. And then this pregnancy experience that obviously leads to so many other health issues, not to mention emotional trauma, harm,
That's right.
and God forbid death, is now
Right.
also becoming something about access and income. And
Right.
that's a dangerous trajectory for us to be on as a nation.
Right.
And so, thank you for thinking of how do we level that playing field, and how do we understand that, there are great resources, but many times there is a cost involved in this country. We don't have
Right.
those safety nets around pregnancy and childbirth that people can access these as a standard practice of care in this country.
Right.
And that's, ongoing work to undo that. But in the meantime, what are the solutions to help people get what they deserve, and
Right.
ultimately what they need to have a healthy experience?
Yeah. Yeah. I just want for every woman to be able to, especially Black women, women who look like me, like we should not be dying at such high rates when we don't have to. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just, in my journey, I just learned that, like, I didn't know you could turn the epidural off.
I had never heard that either. I was like, wait, that's a thing? Because I don't think anyone even, I thought it was just a one thing and that was it.
Right.
Mm,
You can turn, so people don't have to, like, I just learned so much. And I was just like, the breastfeeding class, we, breastfeeding is natural, but you should learn how to do it. You
you
know what
need
I
to learn
mean?
how to
So
do it.
that,
I say that all the time.
yeah,
It's a
yes,
learned activity. I'm like, sex is
right.
natural, but sometimes you got to get a few tips. So,
That's right.
and keep practicing.
Right.
So, we remind
Right.
folks that
Right.
just because it's natural doesn't mean that it's easy for everybody.
Did you know that racism and bias in care has been directly linked to the Black maternal and infant mortality crisis? Black and brown women and birthing people need to birth with Earth. Earth is in the word birth, but we dropped the B for bias, is a new Yelp-like review and rating app for Black and other birthing people of color to leave and find reviews of OBGYNs, birthing hospitals, and pediatricians. Join the movement to use our collective experiences to inform and protect each other and to bring transparency and accountability to the medical system. Reclaim your birthright to birth without bias. Earth is available now in the Google Play and Apple App stores. Download today. Search reviews for yourself. Leave a review to help others. Visit earthapp.com to learn more. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Earth App.
But I think when we look at Black motherhood, overall, and I want to kind of close us on this note about the future.
Yeah.
Like, what's the vision for Black motherhood in terms of who we are, how we're seen in the world, how we're respected in our society, in our culture? For you, what's that vision for Black motherhood?
You know, my vision for Black motherhood is, I wish you could see the image in my head. It's just radiating
Mm,
with love and beauty and joy and peace. And the thing that trips me out is that, and I guess I'm thinking about breastfeeding, but motherhood in all aspects. It's interesting that Black women breastfeed their babies less than any other um, mother group, right? But years ago, but not too far, in the past, we were forced to breastfeed other people's babies. Like, we were the people who were, nursing everybody to a healthy existence, right? And so it's not lost on me that in an effort to divorce ourselves from that painful history, there have been decisions to not breastfeed at all. And then a couple generations later, we don't recognize the correlation between that baggage and now. And so my vision for Black women is that we learn, acknowledge, not be afraid of our history and all the baggage that comes with it, but all the empowerment that is wrapped up in it. Like, we are the mothers. It is so natural for us to be mothers, and the beauty and the strength and the pride that comes with that. We birthed the nation.
that's right.
Literally.
Literally birthed it, then we breastfed it, and then after that, we took care of their children and cleaned their houses. They can go off and do other things. So, yeah,
Exactly.
someone owes us
So let's
something.
do that. Right. Right. And let's owe it to ourselves
Mm,
to reclaim that power, and let's make sure our babies are being given the absolute best chance to thrive in this world. And I
absolutely.
just think that starts with educating ourselves on what our babies need, and the fact that oftentimes what they need is right here within us. Breastfeeding is gold. So if you can do it, do it.
Oh,
Try
and
it.
in case you didn't know, I'm the co-founder of Black Breastfeeding Week. So I will see you in August. We can have this
Yes.
conversation again.
Yes. Yes.
But also this idea that you are enough, right? And that, yes, we can birth our babies and we can feed them with our bodies, which is incredibly empowering. And we do view Black breastfeeding as a reclamation, taking back something that was
Yeah.
stolen from us. And I think that to
Yeah.
an extension, what you were saying, that we can't forget that, first of all, to your point, we were giving birth when our children were not children. They were pieces of property, right?
Property.
We
Yeah.
breastfed the most before, and now
Mm-hmm.
we are breastfeeding the least. We are dying the
Mm-hmm.
most, and our babies are
Mm-hmm.
dying the most. And so,
Mm-hmm.
that irony cannot be lost about the things that we were doing that were taken from us, and what that disruption of the Black motherhood experience has led to in terms of outcomes that are clearly
Yeah.
repercussions of systems of racism and oppression that disrupted our motherhood experience. And we are
Yeah.
now working to get that back. And I'm so grateful
Yeah.
that you are on the journey to help us get that back. I'm very
Yeah.
grateful
Me too.
that we are sharing our stories and also our solutions on that journey to reclaim that and to get that back. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining me, Angela. I am so grateful to have you in conversation, to share space with you today. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too, more than you know. Thank you so much.